Hi, I'm State Representative Bruce Ayers, and as a state representative, I realize how important it is to be accessible and to keep residents informed on issues we're working on at the State House. In an effort to do this, I want to thank Quincy Access Television for allowing me to produce this show. My guest on today's show was recently appointed by Governor Maura Healey as the Secretary to Veterans Services, Secretary John Santiago. Mr. Secretary, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here.
It's nice to have you here, and you've got quite an interesting background. You served in the U.S. Army. You're a doctor at Boston Medical Center. You're a former state representative.
You're a former colleague?
We were colleagues at the State House for 4 years. Can you talk a little bit to the viewers about your background and how your career path is going to assist you or help you with your new role as Secretary of Veterans Services?
It's a great question. When I get quite a bit here, given the variety of different things I've done, but I think when it boils down to it, it's all about service, particularly public service, whether it's as a physician in the ED, as a Peace Corps volunteer, Army veteran, and now in this new role as a secretary. It's all been about public service. And for me, that stems from a variety of things. Growing up in certain neighborhoods where we didn't have access to certain resources, schools, particularly watching my uncle get infected with HIV and die of AIDS. That's what really instilled in me a desire to serve. So I think those were the important parts in my life that really pushed me to get involved publicly.
And Governor Healey, by making your role as Secretary of Veterans Services now for the Commonwealth, a cabinet position, I think certainly sends a strong message to her commitment towards our veterans.
That's absolutely right. This is the first time that this department has been elevated, right? And this is something that the veteran community has been fighting for many decades. And as you're likely aware, because you voted on a certain piece of legislation that created this office, was that there were a host of issues that perhaps we'll talk about later on that were impacting the veteran community. But if this seat was elevated to sit right next to the governor to discuss with her the issues that are impacting veterans, how we can best support them, provide resources for them, then we would do that. And she's been steadfastly engaged with the veteran community, so as the Lieutenant Governor, I might add as well. These are people connected to the veteran community and want to support them to the best of their ability.
When our soldiers come back home, transitioning from military life to civilian life, I know can be challenging. Can you talk about what steps the department is taking to help our veterans kind of with a smooth transition, whether it's continuing their education, maybe job opportunities or entrepreneur opportunities out there?
That's absolutely right. Transitioning can be a difficult step. I've deployed a couple of times. In fact, I was in Syria this time last year. And when you come back, a whole host of issues may be happening. New job, new family issues, and you might be looking for some support. And so we at the Executive Office of Veterans Services, in conjunction with the many local veteran service officers, the 200 plus that exist across the state, are there to support our veterans when they come back. So there are a number of programs, not just within our office, but also at the federal level, at the local cities and town level, to provide benefits, to access resources, to connect them to job opportunities, educational opportunities, because when they get back, there's a couple of months, maybe even years, it takes them to acclimate to what's happening in their home state, and get a new job, and we want to be there for them.
That's nice. And those programs certainly have resonated. I think the latest statistics show that there were close to 60,000 businesses that were owned by veterans that have taken advantage of these programs.
That's absolutely right.
The mental health and well-being of our veterans is important overall aspect of their health care. How does the department been working to improve mental health services to support our veterans, particularly in the light of post-traumatic stress disorder and substance abuse?
You're absolutely right, Representative. Veterans are at higher risk for a number of mental health illnesses, right? From PTSD to depression to anxiety. Serving your country abroad, particularly in a combat zone, can be a very trying experience. And having to come back to integrate into society, not having your battle buddies, that Army support or Navy or wherever you may serve, can be challenging. So the department does, again, in conjunction with a variety of different stakeholders, whether it's nonprofits that are very active in this, cities and towns with their VSOs, is to provide certain services to make sure that they're not alone. I want to just recognize that the VA, a huge organization, right? I get services at the VA myself, is there. We have a number of hospitals within Massachusetts, and partnering with them and making sure that the veteran knows that there are resources that we want to do the best we can to decrease stigma, and that we want to support you in whatever trials you may be having right now. But you're absolutely right, making sure that veterans realize that there are people that we want to address the stigma and offer support and resources at the same time. That's a goal of mine.
When you and I served in the House together, and for a long time, Massachusetts is ranked high nationally towards legislative initiatives and budget amendments towards helping our veterans. But however, there's a high number of veterans suffering from homelessness. What's being done right now to address the homeless issue for our vets?
So homelessness and the housing crisis continues to be an important issue that the governor and lieutenant governor are trying to address. Just a couple of weeks ago, they unleashed a $4.1 billion bond bill with 28 different policy priorities to really look at the housing crisis. And if we were to talk to people all across the Commonwealth, irrespective of their veteran status or not, housing is a fundamental issue that must be addressed. Within the veteran community, there's been a significant desire to get stuff done. And I will say that over the past 10 years, the homeless veteran community in the Commonwealth has decreased significantly. I would say cut in half. Maybe about 10, 15 years ago, it was about 1,200. Now it's about 600. Much more to do. But what we're doing here in the Commonwealth is that we're working with these COCs, continuums of care. We have 12 in the state that really focus on addressing homelessness. But within each one, there's a veteran component. So what my office has done in our first 2 or 3 months in office is to meet directly with the COCs. How can we work with you? How can we leverage our resources, our partnerships with the federal government to address homelessness in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts?
And I know your office works closely with our veteran service directors throughout the Commonwealth. In the city of Quincy, we're very fortunate to have dedicated individuals with Christine Cugini and George Bouchard, and in Randolph, Kevin Cook. Can you talk a little bit about how your department works with them to deliver services to our vets?
So this is a unique aspect that we have in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We have over 200 veteran service officers, right, representing the 351 cities and towns. Those are people on the ground, on the front lines, interacting and engaging with the veteran. Now, although they work for the municipality, they play a significant role in getting veterans access to state benefits. So we offer a variety of benefits, whether it's Chapter 115 for folks who need economic assistance, veterans who need economic assistance, or annuities, money that we give to veterans who are 100% service connected, or a variety of other things. They are that connection. So it's important that we in our office work with them in all that we do. And what I can say is that in the first 3 months of our secretariat, we visited every county in the Commonwealth, from Pittsfield all the way to Nantucket, and we've met over 100 plus veteran service officers to let them know that we want to engage with you, we want to work with you, and that you should look at the secretariat in our office to support you in your endeavors.
It's so important because the Veteran Service Agencies do an awful lot. In the city of Quincy, we have roughly 3,800 veterans, and in the town of Randolph, there's roughly 800. So to have that access to services they may or may not know about, they may be eligible for benefits, is crucial. The COVID-19, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. The pandemic hit certain residents harder than others, including veterans. We saw some mismanagement with the state's Soldiers Home in Holyoke and in Chelsea. Your department oversees these. Can you talk a little bit about what's being done to improve the protocols to ensure their safe living arrangements for our vets?
Sure. Let me just say what we saw in Holyoke and in Chelsea was tragic. Over 110 veterans died. As an ER doctor who still works on the front lines, who doubled his hours during COVID, I have an understanding of what was happening during that period. And it was trying, it was challenging, but you're absolutely right. There were a whole host of issues that contributed to that. And that's partly what led to this elevation from a department to secretariat. So a better management when it comes to infection protocol, when it comes to supporting what's happening on the ground there. And so what we've done a variety of things. We've made sure that those two institutions have the support and resources that they need. Along with the Baker administration that preceded the Healy administration, significant funds were put there to build 2 new homes. In March, my office secured the federal financing to build a brand new Holyoke home. We had a groundbreaking 2 months ago. And in Chelsea, a new building has been built, and we just got DPH licensed and moved our first 20 veterans in. So a part of this elevation from department to secretariat included what I shall say, the professionalization of these two homes, making sure they're DPH licensed, that they're certified by the Centers of Medicaid and Medicare, and that they're certified by the VA as well. So because of my medical background and the folks that we're bringing on, making sure that we're following proper infection protocol, standardizing procedures, and making sure that the veterans are getting the best care that they need and that they deserve is our commitment.
You certainly bring the right background to this position as a doctor, as a former veteran, as someone who served in the House of Representatives, who knows how government works, who has the relationships with members of the House, members of the Senate, key people that we have to work with. And it's nice to hear that. And some of the things you alluded to happened in quick time, considering the magnitude of some of those changes.
Mm-hmm. What I will say, though, is you're absolutely right. My experiences in the House of Representatives taught me so much about government relationships and how to get things done. And having relationships with people like yourself, a committed patriot, someone who loves the veteran community, makes my job easier. And so when I'm able to transfer those skills and those relationships into this new executive office, it's a win-win for all of us.
Yep. And it's great to be able to talk to you about veterans' bills when they come before us, you know, so it's really a win-win. I know it's very valuable. And recognizing diversity within the veteran community, how is the department working to address some of the unique needs and challenges of minority vets, women vets, the LGBTQ veterans? How are you working with that?
That's a great question. We in our office prioritize making sure that diverse voices are being heard. The veteran community is diverse, as you said. You have women, you have people of color, you have people of different sexual orientations, and we made it an emphasis to highlight them all. In fact, right now we're undergoing a Many Faces of Veterans campaign. Was on social media, but we'll be at the State House in Memorial Hall. You should check it out next month. Just highlighting the fact that veterans come from all backgrounds, you know, all sexual orientations, and we're committed to making sure that their stories are being told. One of the first experiences I had as secretary, I was in Revere at a VFW hall, and I had just got back from my deployment, taking this new job with a 19-month-old at home. I know this is a lot of stuff to address here, but in that Revere VFW, I had a couple of conversations with some veterans, and it was really heartening to see that irrespective of one's race or class or political affiliation, that we all supported veterans. And that's what I love about this issue, whether in the House of Representatives, in the executive office, around the community, we all want to support our veterans.
That's right. And your department not only serves veterans, but the families of veterans, service members as well. Perhaps you could talk a little bit about those services that are available to family members and how would they access those services?
So the two primary benefits that we offer, effectively the bread and butter of our office, is Chapter 115 and the annuities. Chapter 115 is a financial assistance program for certain veterans who don't make enough money. But those benefits can be transferred to their dependents as well, right? The annuities is a lump sum of money, $2,000 given in two $1,000 installments to veterans who are 100% service-connected disabled, or their widows, or their dependents, or the parents of a soldier that may have been killed in action. So we support veterans and their families because it's important to note, when you're deployed, like I was in Syria last year, I needed my family to be on the phone with me to support me while I was abroad here. So the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and I'm sure you feel the same way because you've been a long-time supporter of the veteran community, is to support not just the veteran, but understanding that the veteran is part of a bigger family. Their brothers and sisters, their fathers and mothers, but also the larger veteran family as well.
Yeah. Looking ahead, what are some of the department's long-term goals and visions to support our vets? Are there any key areas that you're looking to prioritize in the upcoming years?
I'm excited that we're standing up the Secretariat, and I think it's a unique opportunity that one doesn't have very often in government. We're building a brand new Secretariat, and what that means is that, you know, where we may have had a couple of people working in an HR department or, or a lawyer here or a comms department, we're building out a whole new team. And so what I felt that the three biggest needs were in our department as we transitioned to Secretariat was the need for leadership, vision, and capacity. So we hired 50 people. And to get this going, we brought new leadership. We brought a vision that was committed to honorably serving those who served us. And so we've put forth a program and a plan. We focused on the homes, stabilizing them, putting them up. We've opened that new home, had the groundbreaking on the other, and we've really returned to engagement. You understand the importance of engagement as a local representative. We've been out there meeting with veterans, and as this new secretary, we get to do cool things, whether that's put forth a legislative package, have the governor's ear, fight for funding in a way that a department wouldn't. Two efforts that I will say that we've been working on is within our secretariat to create a new office focused on veterans education, employment opportunities, and training opportunities. That was just stood up last month, and really capitalizing on some of the work we do here in housing and homelessness. We do have a program where we support nonprofits that are active in that space, but we're looking to bring more resources in to perhaps maybe build housing, work with other entities to support homelessness initiatives. And the last thing I'll say is that strategically, we've made an important priority to partner with the VA. The VA is a ginormous organization from DC, but they're here, they're important players, and we need to be connecting and breaking down the silos that exist between the VA and the executive office, which had been there, and we're looking forward to really build a relationship with them and to increase our efficiency and support one another.
You know, we're coming up on Veterans Day, and I know there's an awful lot of Veterans Day events planned throughout the Commonwealth. We certainly have a great event in Quincy, also in Randolph, in my district. Can you talk a little bit about the upcoming event you're having with Governor Healy in Faneuil Hall?
Sure, we're having a large event Friday, November 10th at 10 a.m. in Faneuil Hall in Boston. All are welcome. If you're out there listening or watching this, please come on by. We want the opportunity to thank you if you're a veteran, or just to come and listen to what we have some speakers there, and to hear about what we've been up to for the past 8 months and standing up the Secretariat. And I think if they come, they'll see that Governor Healy and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll are committed to supporting our veteran community. And their budget alone, their first budget, was the highest increase in veterans services, resources that has ever existed. So they're committed, we're committed. I know you're committed in the legislature. So folks, come on down November 10th at 10 a.m.
Absolutely. And again, you know, making your position a cabinet post, increasing the budget certainly sends strong signals to our veterans in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
That's absolutely right. As I said, we are here to honorably serve those who served us. That is our vision. Our mission statement is based on that, and everything we do in our office, from the small programming to the hiring to the one-on-one meetings, is focused on that vision.
Yep. Well, there's an awful lot I know you're involved with, and I know you travel crisscrossing the state. When you do have some downtime, I know the business can be very stressful and demanding. What do you like to do to relax?
So I still work in the emergency department from time to time. I'll do a shift tonight, actually. I do the Friday night shift because I think that keeps me connected to what's happening in the real world. And so, ironically, it's a crazy adrenaline kind of space, but it kind of just takes me away from the other issues I'm dealing with on Beacon Hill. I enjoy spending time with my son, who's 19 months old.
Wow.
I jog, I read, but I stay pretty active. I mean, that's, it keeps me going.
Well, great. Well, great. Our time's just about up. Mr. Secretary, I want to thank you for taking time to participate in today's show. I appreciate your friendship and support and the partnerships you've formed with our Quincy and Randolph officials helping our veterans. You know, we're looking forward to working with you. If any of the viewers would like to find out any more information about the show or ask any questions, I certainly appreciate you to contact my office at 617-722-2220. And again, I want to thank Quincy Access Television for giving me the opportunity to produce this show so we can keep residents informed on what's happening at the State House. And thanks for tuning in. Thank you.